everyone. I'm Suma and I'm a researcher at the University of Sheffield, and I mostly work on carbon sequestration by woodlands. So, a recent study highlighted the mind-blowing potential of trees for climate change mitigation. Trees are often looked upon as solutions to combat climate change, and this is because they have the ability to sequester carbon. World leaders often commit to tree planting programs to offset climate emissions. But what if planting more trees is not always the solution for climate change? What does planting more trees mean for pastoral livelihoods and grasslands? To understand this, I set out on a 3-month field trip to South Africa as a part of my PhD, where woody plant encroachment has been noticed since the 1900s. So what is woody plant encroachment? It is a phenomenon where there is an increasing tree cover in the grasslands. And this is happening because of increasing carbon dioxide levels at a global scale. And at a local scale in South Africa, woody plant encroachment is also happening because of changes in land use management, changes in land tenure, fire regimes, and grazing patterns, all associated with the historical land tenures because of apartheid. The key culprit in South Africa is a species of tree called acacia, which is growing at a faster rate when compared to grasslands. During my first few days in South Africa, I got a chance to attend the largest network meeting on savanna science at the Kruger National Park. There, I met experts from all over the world who are working on this phenomenon called woody plant encroachment. This is where I understood the problem is not localized to South Africa alone, but is also noticed in other parts of the world like Brazil and Australia. And from there, I set out to Eastern Cape, a province in South Africa, where I wanted to talk to the black farmers and white farmers to understand why this is happening and what implications this has on livelihoods. With the help of a local Xhosa translator, whose traditional livelihood is pastoral, I started talking to the black farmers. The first person that I met was my translator's granddad, who showed me around the communal land and told me stories about how acacia has been encroaching since the last few years, because of which they had to give up on the livestock and migrate to bigger cities like Johannesburg in search of livelihoods and to work in the mines. While my translator's granddad works on a community project and maintains a small farm. The next day, I got a chance to talk to my landlord, Andrew, who's a white farmer and owns a commercial farm in a nearby place. When I asked him whether he thinks acacia is a problem, he told me it's not a problem for it, and I was quite surprised. I asked him how. He said it is because they poison all the acacia seedlings and prevent them from growing. Although in places where he couldn't control the growth of acacias, he just has to employ more people to take care of his cattle just so that they don't get lost in the thick tree cover. A few days later, I asked Wandizile why his granddad cannot poison all the acacia and kill them. And he said they're too poor to afford to buy poison to kill huge tracts of acacia. From there, we headed to a town called Pedi, and here the plot thickens. I noticed huge tracts of communal land covered with acacia, and interestingly, these were former commercial lands that were used for pineapple cultivation by the white farmers who left the land abandoned after the apartheid, end of the apartheid. And now this land has been converted to a communal farm where the black farmers live. On the way back from Pedi, I noticed a couple of men sitting on the end of the roads under hot sun. And I asked my translator, who are they and why are they sitting under the hot sun? He told me that they're the road rangers. I asked him, what does a road ranger do? So road rangers are the people employed by the people in the village to take care of their cattle. This is because the sides of the road are covered by thick growth of acacia, and the cattle often stray into the road, causing accidents. And it is the job of these road rangers to make sure that the cattle don't come onto the roads, causing accidents. From there, we went to another communal land in a village called Kwezana, where I started speaking to the black farmers and asked them, why do you think is acacia increasing here? They blamed it on sheep theft. I asked them, what has sheep theft got to do with increasing trees? They told me When they had sheep, they helped in removing the seeds of acacia and prevented the tree from growing, which the goats that they own do not do. And they had to shift to having goats over sheep because goats make a noise when stolen, which the sheep do not. Right. So going back to the research that highlighted the mind-blowing potential of trees to tackle climate change, what is the problem here? The problem is that the researchers identified 0.9 million hectares of land which have the ability to sequester 205 gigatons of carbon dioxide when planted with trees. The issue is most of the land that they identified are grassy biomes in South Africa. The case is no different in India, the country that I come from, where grasslands are misclassified as wastelands and often become an easy target for tree plantation programs. Although woody plant encroachment in South Africa contributes to acting as a climate sink, thereby satisfying South Africa's commitment to the Paris Agreement, it also leads to land degradation by reducing water availability in the rangelands, thereby affecting livelihoods. It also contradicts South Africa's commitment to the United Nations to combat desertification and to the Convention on Biological Diversity. So, along with this, South Africa has also committed to plant 3.6 million hectares of land with trees under the African Restoration Initiative, an offshoot of Bond Challenge to combat climate change. Tree planting here is definitely not a good idea when the livelihoods are already at threat because of decreasing grazing land. So what is the message? Should we not plant trees? Planting trees is good, but we need to know where the right trees need to be planted at the right places. Otherwise, we are at a risk of missing the grasslands for trees. Thank you.